All right, ready to dive deep. Today, we're tackling a fascinating concept, the Declaration of Interdependence. Imagine a world where, I don't know, where we matters more than me.
Intriguing, right?
Yeah, so we're exploring a chapter from this book called The Declaration of Interdependence, How We Can Live a Life of Love, Infinity, and Integrity by Terry Sanders and Chad Steele.
It's not saying to like chuck the Declaration of Independence out the window.
Right, right. It's more like, okay, how do we add another layer of understanding for, the 21st century?
Exactly. How do our individual actions ripple outwards, affecting the group, and how that group, in turn, shapes our lives? It's all
Wow.
connected, like a delicate dance.
Okay, so let's jump right in. The authors bring up this thing called the infinity principle.
Sounds complicated.
It does, but it basically boils down to this equation. Interdependence equals group divided by individual. Yeah, so the more we focus on the collective, the group, the more interdependence grows. But here's the mind-blowing part. Shifting away from the individual can actually lead to a more fulfilling experience for everyone. Why is that?
Well, think about it. When the group's well-being is the priority, you naturally start thinking about others' needs, right? We cooperate more. We share resources. We build systems that benefit everyone, not just ourselves.
So, like public schools, roads, clean water, all those things come from that collective effort.
Exactly. Interdependence in action. And contributing to something bigger than yourself, well, that can bring a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging you might miss when you're just focused on individual achievement.
That makes a lot of sense. It's
Yeah.
like we're all part of this giant web, and strengthening the connections actually strengthens everything, including ourselves. And speaking of connections, the book has this great line, no one does it alone. Think about it. You listening right now, think about your journey. How have others helped you succeed?
Teachers, mentors, family, friends.
Exactly. We're all standing on the shoulders of giants, as they say.
The Declaration of Interdependence really challenges us to acknowledge that interconnectedness. It's about shifting our thinking from what are my rights
Hmm.
to what are our shared responsibilities. It's a call to create a society where everyone has a chance to thrive.
But that's got to come with challenges, right?
Of course,
Oh,
how do you balance individual freedom with the needs of the group? It's a constant balancing act. A tough one, for sure.
absolutely. And speaking of brilliant minds who thought about this stuff, the book mentions Buckminster Fuller, the architect and futurist. He was all about interconnectedness.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fuller believed humanity was part of a larger system, and that we could create a more sustainable future by working with nature, not against it. He has this famous quote, "Only integrity is going to count." Now, integrity is wholeness. If you're going to reform the environment, you reform the environment, not man. The environment transforms man. You can't reform man, you can only reform the environment.
That doing more with less idea he was all about that really resonates with me. It's eco-friendly, it's efficient, two birds, one stone. But how does that look in everyday life? What does doing more with less actually mean in practice?
It can be so many things. Reducing waste, consuming consciously, supporting businesses that prioritize durability, making things that last, or things with multiple uses, and simply being mindful of our impact on the planet, on each other. It's realizing our resources are limited and using them wisely for everyone's benefit.
So it's not just about being a minimalist, it's being thoughtful about our choices
Right.
and how they affect everything around us. I get it, but this isn't just some like philosophical concept. The book brings in real world examples like Elizabeth Warren's views on taxes.
Oh, yeah. Warren argues that even a successful factory owner, they rely on roads, education, a safe environment, things provided by the rest of us.
Right.
She emphasizes that individual success is important for sure, but part of the deal, the social contract, is contributing back to society, paving the way for the next generation.
See, this is where it gets interesting for me. Connecting interdependence to the social contract. Like, we benefit from society, so we should contribute back, whether it's paying taxes, volunteering, even just being a good neighbor. Have you ever thought about how your own success is tied to the well-being of your community?
Absolutely. Think about the infrastructure, the services, the opportunities that have helped you along the way.
It's all interconnected.
It is. Acknowledging that we're all in this together. Individual well-being is tied to the well-being of the community as a whole. It's not about stifling individual initiative. It's recognizing that individual success is built on a foundation of collective support.
And to show this dance between individual contribution and collective harmony, the book uses this analogy of an orchestra.
Oh, I love that.
Right, you've got all these different instruments, each with its own unique sound, its own role, But they have to listen to each other, adapt, support the whole thing to create something truly beautiful.
It's a perfect analogy. The orchestra's success depends on individuals working together, just like society. It's not about everyone playing the same note. It's about recognizing that diverse individuals, different styles, different viewpoints, they can create something even more beautiful, more complex when they work together.
It's a powerful image, but let's be real. Shifting to this interdependence mindset, it's not easy. What roadblocks might we hit along the way?
Well, our culture is so deeply rooted in individualism. The fear of losing personal freedoms, that can be a big obstacle to embracing interdependence. It's like giving something up to gain something else, and that can be hard to accept.
I get that. People might be hesitant. But are there any examples where interdependence is already working? Success stories that give us hope, show us it's possible.
Oh, absolutely. Look at community projects. People coming together to build parks, clean up neighborhoods, support local businesses, or open source software. Developers from all over the world collaborating to create amazing tools that anyone can use for free. Those are just a couple of examples of interdependence in action.
That is encouraging. It's not just a fantasy then. There are real examples, proof that it can work.
Exactly. And speaking of seeing things from different perspectives, which is so important for interdependence to work, the book quotes Frances Wright, a 19th century reformer.
Oh, what does she say?
She said, "Examine, inquire, possess a reason for the faith that is in you." Basically, don't just blindly accept what you're told. Question it, understand it, form your own informed opinions. That active engagement is vital for genuine interdependence.
Makes sense. Be intellectually curious. Actively seek understanding, both from others and within yourself. It's like that Mark Twain quote.
It ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so.
Exactly. And that's so important now. With information overload everywhere, it's easy to get stuck in echo chambers, assuming our view is the only right one.
Absolutely.
But then the book throws in another curveball, fractegrity. Break that down for us. What is fractegrity?
Fractegrity is this idea that each part reflects the whole, and the whole is made up of interconnected parts. Think of a fractal. Each tiny piece mirrors the overall pattern. It's a visual representation of how interconnectedness works at different scales.
So fractegrity is like a zoomed-in view of interdependence, focusing on those intricate connections that make up the whole.
Exactly. And this brings us back to the core of the Declaration of Interdependence. It's not about erasing individuality. It's about recognizing that ourselves are woven into this larger tapestry.
Wow.
Our actions ripple outward. The well-being of the whole depends on the well-being of each part, and vice versa.
It's like this giant cosmic dance, and we're all part of the choreography. So if you had to write your own personal Declaration of Interdependence, what would it say? What actions would you commit to, knowing they ripple outward and affect everyone else?
That's a profound question. I think it's something each of us needs to grapple with. But for me, it would be about compassion, understanding, a willingness to prioritize the community above my own self-interest. It's a journey, not a destination. It means constantly challenging my assumptions, being open to new perspectives, being willing to adjust as I learn and grow.
Beautifully said. It's like we're all navigating uncharted territory together, and the map's constantly changing.
Exactly, and that's what makes it exciting.
There's always more to learn, more connections to discover, more ways to contribute to the well-being of the whole. This is just the beginning of our deep dive into this fascinating idea. Stay tuned, because we'll explore more facets of interdependence in part 2 of this conversation.